Chapter 1.8 Bjorn Muller's Dilemma. Bjorn Muller was lying in the jacuzzi bathtub installed in his private quarters. Despite having his body in a peak condition, he still felt phantom pains in a previously lost body part that had been replaced. The phantom pains annoyed Bjorn. There was no reason to have them, and yet he was mentally unable to let them go. He was thinking of Keila. He could not decide whether he was relieved that she was finally dead, or angry that he was not the one to send her to the True Maker. He was mad at Angel Metatron, whose real name was Jack Silver, and Bjorn vowed to one day get his revenge if there was an opportunity for it. Regardless, there was nothing he could do about the religious idiots on Eden at the moment, and there was a bigger fish to fry. He was thinking back on his first meeting with Keila 4 years earlier. She had caused him immense pain and suffering, but he had no one to blame but his own stupidity for what had happened. She had been barely adult back then, aged only 18, and insignificant for the revolution. Not one of the poster girls of the Martian revolution she was to become a few years later. She had been on a smuggler vessel that he had intercepted, and she had been one of his prisoners. Bjorn was a mere 66 years old at the time and was still an attractive bachelor back on Earth due to his family wealth and DNA regenerated good looks, making him looking like he was only in his late 30s. But for some reason, Keila had attracted a strong urge in him that he did not usually feel. The urge to subjugate and dominate an enemy, sexually and psychologically. Bjorn had secretly taken her to his private quarters and forced himself on her multiple times. He had kept her there for a long time until he one day got carried away, forgetting that she was not in bed with him by her free will, and made her give him fellatio, not knowing what she would do next. As a surprise, this has ended badly, with Keila biting his dick and scrotum, spitting out his severed member on the floor, leaving Bjorn in excruciating and agonizing pain, shrieking as loudly as he could, while Keila was heading for an emergency escape pod landing towards Mars. Deeply ashamed over the incident, Bjorn had not told anyone about Keila and her debauchery, and following her escape, he had been in agonizing shame and pain for several days before he could reach a private reconstruction clinic and get restored with DNA repair technology, without telling anyone how he got injured. Although his body had recovered to peak condition, he could still feel the phantom pains years later, and the last few days had worsened his situation. To cover up his shameful act after his last encounter with Keila, Bjorn had cleared all data records of her capture and everything they had managed to gather from her interrogation in the computerized mainframe of the ISS Supreme Earth. He had still stored a copy of everything on a private drive in case he would need it in the future. In this private drive was a record of her DNA, and the corpse that had been delivered to him was of a perfect match. Bjorn Muller made a decision. He would not wait any longer to publicize the death of Keila, and finally he would get all the glory that he deserved. He would get a promotion.